the Hand of God podcast.
Yeah, Liverpool versus Chelsea. I think that was the big blockbuster. So we had Lukaku versus
Van Dijk.
Van Dijk. We had
Klopp versus Tuchel.
So it was a German affair. We
Yeah.
had, how do you say? We had Kante versus
Henderson.
Naby Keita.
Elliot.
Fabinho.
I actually did watch that game.
Oh, very entertaining game.
What did you guys think?
I'll let Justin start because this is your team anyway.
Yeah.
Actually, Justin, you go in.
I'm relieved. Number one, I'm relieved we got the draw. At halftime, I was shaking. I thought Liverpool were gonna, I don't know, just do the most. And at the halftime, I actually had my own ideas of what kind of subs Tuchel should have. I was thinking if he can take out Alonso, because Alonso's got like some defensive deficiencies compared to Chilwell. I thought that would have been a better sub. And then I thought maybe subbing Havertz for Werner would stretch them a bit more on the counter. And it sounded like a good idea in my own head at the time. Then halftime came, and the subs he actually put in were Thiago Silva and he put in and Kovacic for Havertz. And I thought that was very interesting. One and very good subs, because our defense had started like losing their composure. So Thiago Silva was there for that solidity. Our defense, I can talk all day about our defense, especially after yesterday's game.
Yeah.
Solid. And then Kovacic I thought was a bit more interesting, because he's a really interesting midfielder. He's press resistant. They really couldn't, and he keeps the ball moving. He's like, I think him and Jorginho are UEFA Player of the Season.
Oh, oh yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is. Sam can't take this.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can take
Jorginho,
I
oh my
understand.
God, was I wrong when he first came? Because I didn't like Georgie. I thought he was, Sari's,
Pet.
pet, a PT. Didn't like that.
What was your thoughts on the red card?
The red card, it's a red card.
Really?
Yes, it's a red card. I just kind of hate the process, that, the fact that he got there and he didn't interrogate much, right? He had already made up his mind, because once they call you back, it means the decision's overturned. And I feel like the ref should also have his own input.
Opinion.
And that's why they're calling you back, right? They call him back, they show him a freeze frame of the last image, and I mean, I get that he already has the whole context, because he was already there. He was there.
Yeah.
And he saw everything. Well, didn't see it. Technically didn't see everything, and that's why he should take his time to see everything again.
A couple of times.
A couple of times. And it's frustrating that he just saw an image. And then, and Tuchel was frustrated with the same thing. And I think that's a reasonable...
And Poncho, for you, what did you think of that game? Especially
I don't want to lie and say I watched the whole match. I watched until the first half. I watched the first half.
Yeah.
At first, it was a very interesting game, end to end. At the beginning, I felt like you guys were both trying to... It's like you guys were countering each other a lot of the time. I think Chelsea were more penetrative at the beginning, because I felt like they were not hitting the targets. They were making a lot of attacks, but they just didn't have a lot of end products. Because Sane was the only player that was actually doing something. They were trying on Salah's side.
Sane?
Not Sane, Mane. Sorry.
Oh, I was like, what?
Yeah. That was But I think Mane was trying. But then I think as soon as the red card came through, I was actually disappointed that it was given a red card. Because initially I thought... I mean, it was a penalty. That's one thing I do know for a fact, was a penalty. I felt like the red was a little bit harsh, because I don't think it was malicious. It was intended to hit the ball away.
It wasn't like a dive.
Yeah, it wasn't it was more of a thing of, it hit his knee, and because your arm's on the side, your natural instinct, I feel, is to maybe move your hand to try and do something with your hand, like maybe
you validated the reason.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
No, because I felt the same way. I felt the same way initially, like in real time, as people that have played the game. I mean, obviously not to that same standard, but as people who've played the game, we know, involuntary movements.
Yeah.
In order to get your balance and whatnot.
Right.
100%. However, if you look at it, and yes, it's true that when you slow it down, his hand goes off. It hits his thigh.
Right.
Then it hits his hand.
Right.
I think at that point he's still okay, and then his instinct is just to, he, not to say he was searching for the ball, but because his eyes met the ball. In his body was like, okay, I need to make an action in order to get rid of the ball, and that's the action which, one might say is what inhibited the goal from going in. So exactly. Yeah. So in essence, he stopped the goal from going in. So
true.
Whether or not it was his intent, the result of his action was there not being a goal. Therefore,
but that's why I feel like it was a penalty, and that's why I feel like it was a penalty, maybe yellow card, maybe, but red was a little, and it was a straight red.
But we're arguing the law,
right? Yeah, and that's
basically we're arguing the spirit versus what the law is. Yeah, that's what we're.
So arguing. that's my take as well. I hear Poncho's angle of it shouldn't have been a red. As a Chelsea fan, obviously that's my starting position. Like that's. Initially, that's how I actually feel as well. It does feel unfair, definitely. But because that's the law says that if you intentionally stop it with your hands, and unfortunately that's what it looked like. And once it hit his thigh, it looked like it was rolling back. It was rolling back into like it hit his thigh, and it wasn't going that way, right? No. So it hit his thigh, and it looked like it was still headed towards
the goal. It was going into a goal.
And then his arm, like out of instinct, and also the fact, like Sam was saying, the fact that he actually is like looking, and obviously he's trying to resist. It's obviously it's such a painful red card. That's So I think a red card is a bit harsh, not only because a red card is the fair. Punishment, that's according to the law. That's it makes deserved. Sense.
But in the spirit of the game,
in the spirit of the game, it makes it a little less not interesting,
right?
Because the game was still interesting afterwards, but the game
it died down. I felt like it was more. Okay, I didn't watch the second half, but so I can't really speak as to what was going on.
No, the second half was still fire.
Was it?
I think it was very.
No more goals were scored, right?
Yeah.
I think that's why I felt like
the metric.
But but I think it was interesting, like tactically, it was like
chess.
It wasn't just it was chess. It was chess because had we conceded the first goal, then it's like game over, right?
Yeah.
And so Chelsea made sure that we didn't concede anything, so that we still had a chance on the counter. Because as long as as long as we can keep them from scoring, we can. If we score one, then they're even in more danger because now they're going to try attack more, and then we'll counter better.
If anything, for me, this game signified why Tuchel is better suited than Lampard.
Yeah, 100%.
At halftime, them conceding that penalty and Salah scoring, with Lampard in the dugout, they lose that game. Chelsea loses that game 3-1. Not even 3-1. Convincingly. Because I think another reason why is just the inexperience between.
That's exactly the point.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making, because I think you mentioned earlier that you naively thought, okay, I think you said what you would have taken off Havertz and put on Werner.
And then taken off Alonso for Chilwell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. But he knew, okay, Alonso keeps getting into space on this far side. Of course. Naturally, because Trent is on the right, and whenever they tucked in because Matip didn't have too much pace, they wanted to play tight to Lukaku, which Lukaku did roll him one time where it was embarrassing. Yeah. But whenever Matip came, he made it tight with Van Dijk. Whenever there was too much space between Matip and Trent would come tight as well.
Right.
And then that would leave a lot of space on the left of Chelsea. So that's actually where a lot of the chances in the first half for Chelsea came from.
Yeah.
Now, us being laymen's, that's the change that you would have made. You would have said, okay, defensive solidity, blah, blah, blah. Then you would have said Havertz did his thing. He scored the goal. Therefore, take him off.
That was actually a very good goal.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah. I wonder if he was actually aiming to score or he's just flicking it
onto the...
Either way,
but
beautiful goal.
But the mark of Tuchel being experienced is the fact that he didn't make that decision.
Yeah.
He knew that we need to... Okay, when we do get the ball, we need to... Okay, obviously reorient defense because we've lost a man. So he brings on Thiago Silva. And then on top of that, he knew, okay, the key here isn't breaking because Lukaku has the pace. That maybe... what's the boy at Roma from Chelsea?
Abraham.
Tammy. Yeah. Because Tammy maybe... He had some pace but not searing pace like Lukaku does. So he thought, okay... With Lukaku, we have some of that searing pace, so pace is no longer an issue. Yeah. Therefore, let us bring on someone, Kovacic, who can retain possession when we do have the ball. Yeah. Someone who can circulate the possession. Smart, exactly. Smart. Yeah. Because besides possession being a metric of control, it's also about reserving energy.
Yes.
So he knows if we get a hold of midfield and we can circulate possession.
The ball,
Exactly. So that, on a meta level, signifies why Tuchel is better than Lampard.
100%.
And better than most.
Experience.
100%.
And most,
Exactly.
Just better
100%.
The Hand of God Podcast.